Hi, hello, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar on global state of scams. My name is Alona Borzemska. I'm the CCO at DomainCrawler, and I will be the host of today's webinar brought to you by the DomainCrawler and Scamadviser. Our companies work together to make an internet the safer place for everyone. And today we are discussing the global state of scams report and how we can fight online scams and counterfeiting on individual, business, and state levels. I think we have great speakers today, and we have Yuri Abraham from Scamadviser. He is the general manager, and Yuri has been a part of the international e-commerce community since 1997. Now he is the general manager of the e-commerce foundation, whose mission is to foster global digital trade. And Yuri also manages the Scamadviser.com, the global blacklist for malicious websites. And, which is also interesting, Yuri is an e-commerce professor at the University of the Applied Sciences. We also have Rickard Vikström, who's a founder and CEO at DomainCrawler. Rickard is one of Europe's most prominent internet entrepreneurs. Over the years of his career, he has been involved as the founder and board member of several companies. And in 2006, driven by the vision of indexing the entire internet, he started DomainCrawler, which became a pioneer of the internet, of domain data collection and structuring. So, before we get, really happy to meet with you all today. And before we get started, I'm very interested to know and understand our audience a little bit better. So, guys, please tell us where you're from, what industry do you represent, and share some details about it in the chat. I also like to mention that we have a little bit of the delay between what we say and what you hear, so the responses might appear a few seconds or even minutes after we asked for that. So anyway, it's a pleasure to meet all of you today and have you here with us. And if during today's webinar you will have any questions, you are very welcome to put them into the chat box, and we will make sure to answer them during the Q&A session. And if we have something left, we'll make sure to sum everything up in the email and send it back to you. So do we have any answers? I do not see the comments. Yeah. We have the UK and the blockchain industry. And I think all other answers are about to come. And I also have great news. Everyone who stays with us till the end of the webinar will have an opportunity to book a personal meeting with Rickard Vikström and receive his expert advice on how to protect the brand with the domain data. So we will share a link to this meeting consultation at the end of the webinar. And now I think I have to stop talking. And without further ado, we'll turn the stage up to Yuri, who will start his great presentation on the global state of scams.
Thank you very much, Alona. Thank you also for your kind words. Just checking, do you see my presentation?
I think we do.
Super. As Alona was saying, my name is George Abraham. I am the General Manager of the E-Commerce Foundation and of Scamadviser. The mission of E-Commerce Foundation is to foster global digital trade. And Scamadviser is, as Alona was already saying, the global database for scams. A little bit more about Scamadviser. We were founded in 2012 by a developer called Mark, and The story goes that Mark bought a golf set online. It proved to be a fake, and as you may know, nothing is as dangerous as an angry developer. So he started to develop an algorithm to determine what's the likelihood of this website being either legit or a scam. And if you visit scamadviser.com, you can just type in a domain name, and within a few seconds, we will give you a trust score of that domain name. One meaning very, very, very likely legit. 100 meaning, one meaning very, very likely a scam, and 100 meaning very, very likely legit. And the only reason why we say very, very likely is not to get sued by companies. And we also explain why we think this website might be legit or why we think it might be a scam. And we have about 100,000 consumers every day checking Scamadviser, and we scan about 1 million new websites every month. As I said, we calculate a trust score, and the trust score is based on about 40 different data points. So we check the company data. Are they hiding their contact details or showing it? Do they have a phone number? We check website data. How popular is the website? Are they using a valid review system? Or a review system which allows manipulation of reviews. Which payment methods do we offer? Are these payment methods safe? We check technical data, and there we work together with DomainCrawler for is the SSL certificate valid? Which kind of technology do they use? Until now, I've never come across scammers which are using SAP software or Salesforce. And we're slowly experimenting with artificial intelligence to make our algorithm better and better. Maybe taking one step back, what are scams? If you go to Trustpilot or SiteJabber or other review sites, you will see that a lot of websites have terrible reviews. I mean, Apple.com, 1.5 stars, ASOS, 2 stars. But these are not scams. They're just companies which sometimes offer terrible service. How we define a scam is when a consumer or business is actually tricked in giving money or data, assuming he will get a product or service, and that product or service is either not delivered at all, or a fake product or counterfeit product is sent instead. And we see that scams, fraud, cybercrime, counterfeits, they're all tied together online. It's they're the same organizations who scam you, who sell fakes, who try to install ransomware on your computer. They're often the same kind of club. So they're all related. And how products are also related. A question I often ask the audience: what's the relationship between wigs, research papers, and herpes medication? And the relationship is that they're all very popular products used by scammers, because the victim will feel very ashamed and will never go to the police saying, "Hey, my herpes medication was not delivered. Can you help me get my money back? And I want to press charges." And that's the problem with scams. Only 7% of all the scam victims report the scam to either a review site, social media, or the police, making it very easy for scammers to continue the scam. We do see actually that scammers often do deliver a product, but it's a fake, or a product which has no resemblance with the product which was sold, or the service being offered online. And the reason scammers do this is to prove to PayPal and the credit card companies, I delivered the product. I mean, I don't know why the customer is complaining, and try to keep that going for as long as possible so that they can scam consumers as long as possible. Some scams are obvious, but you would be amazed how many emails we got about this website, um, and especially mails, I have to admit, asking us, "Hey, can I really earn money here?" You cannot. And yes, in some cases, victims should have known better. I mean, if you want to buy a verified PayPal account, if you want to buy guns, if you want to fight your visas or your driver's license, then chances are pretty big you're being scammed. In many instances, however, the victim is vulnerable and needs a solution. I mean, what we've seen with the changes in taxes, where taxes now doesn't allow you to buy abortion pills. We've seen scammers months before this legislation became implemented, that scammers were setting up websites selling abortion pills. And of course, the victim will never complain to the authorities. And victims are actually hurt in two ways. One, they need a solution to a big problem, and two, they're being scammed because of it. Um, the idea that only stupid people are scammed is really not true. Um, Anybody can get scammed. I myself have been scammed 10 years ago while I was selling my boat together with my wife, and we lost a few $1,000s. Anybody can scam. It's just the type of scam which differs per target group. We all receive emails from people that, hey, you won the lottery, 100 million. Please send me your contact details and your ID, and I will transfer the money. Those are scams not meant for us. Um, but there are also what they call pig butchering scams, where the victim is being fattened up for 3 months, 6 months, or even 12 months. And sometimes it's romantic, sometimes it's an investment scam. And you really believe that, one, this person really exists, and two, that you can trust him. And then you invest or you pay his trip to meet you, and you never see him and you lose all your money. And that's the problem. We did a survey amongst 5,000 consumers, and they are 76% of these consumers are convinced that they can identify scams. But if you then ask the next question, were you scammed last year? 73% says, yes, I fell for a scam. And that's the big challenge, that people think they can identify scams. Well, in practice, they often cannot. And what we see is that, as I said before, everybody can get scammed. The scam differs, where people who do not make so much money, they often fall for the attraction of money, the lure of money. While people with a higher education, they think, yeah, it might be a scam, but I can risk a few $100. I will just do it. So they are more risk takers. But anybody can get scammed. And what we are seeing is that scam advisors are professionalizing very rapidly. They're personalizing the scams. They're using all your Facebook information, the information about your friends and family. They are able to localize it more. Now, even Finland, with 5 million inhabitants, has really personal emails with incorrect Finnish. And they are targeting more. They are targeting elderly people. They're targeting kids with specific scams developed for those kind of target groups. Scammers will never ever scam in their own country, at least not the professional ones. They make sure that they have hundreds of websites. Uniqueness, for example, has 478 websites, and every day they add one or two websites. And they spread their scams across 80 countries. And as a result, the national police doesn't see the scam because it spreads so much. We see also that they're becoming more professional. They're on the website of scammers. We come across statements like, "Don't do business with this site. They are scam and we are not." Or they get certified by the FMRRC. And what's interesting about this certification website is that all the websites which are certified, we have listed as very, very dubious. Scammers can also spend a lot of money online. Marvelet, for example, spent $3 million on Google AdSense in 3 weeks. And they can, because their margin is 100%, because they don't deliver. So it's easy to operate. We also see a lot of chargeback websites with weird names as FEFEXG.com. You see them on your credit card transaction. And why is this website taking money from my credit card? You go to the website, and then you're being served, and they remove your subscription. There are two kinds of these kind of what we call chargeback websites or help desk websites. One is legit companies, namely adult websites, adult dating sites, who you might not want to have listed on your credit card transaction slip because your partner might see. But most of them are actually scammers who are every week or every month taking $20 from your credit card and saying it's a subscription. And then you unsubscribe, you are happy, and they can continue the scam using another website. And also we see that a lot of people, once they have ordered on from an online store, they get an email from the delivery company that, hey, we've got your package at customs, but we're not allowed to ship it because you have to pay custom duty. And this is a scam, because once you have paid the custom duty, you get another email saying, oh, I'm very sorry, but we are now also being charged an environmental tax and you have to pay insurance fee. Please pay as soon as quickly so that we can deliver your package. And of course, the package never shows. And if you're really unfortunate, you end up on the donkey list. The donkey list is a list which is shared on the dark web, where scammers share your contact details. You might have invested in a cryptocurrency investment a few weeks ago. It proved to be a scam. You lost your money. And now you're being contacted by a so-called money recovery firm. Some of these companies actually exist and are legit, but the chances of you getting your money back is less than 1%. And they, of course, first charge a fee, saying that, hey, before we have to do the investigation, please send us $750. And then they come back to you saying, hey, we've got your money back, but you have to pay $2,000 administration fee. And so the story continues. So one of the interesting surveys we did a few weeks ago was to learn, why do consumers actually buy fakes? And just with scams, consumers think they're very capable of identifying fakes. Well, in practice, we see they're not. And we see also that they buy mainly from websites. Yes, they also buy from marketplaces and social media, but websites are still the most popular tool, followed by physical stores and markets. And of course, during Corona, markets dropped very sharply, but it's up again, just like before. What I think is really a missed opportunity of many brands is that people are actually very dissatisfied with the product. They don't like what they've got, and I think we should put much more emphasis and awareness campaigns that if you buy fake, it's not going to be the product you would have liked. And that's also the biggest fear of consumers who are buying fakes, the fear of buying a low quality product, followed very closely by, okay, I'm giving my credit card details to a website which is selling fake, so they are a criminal. What else are they going to do with my personal data? So enough about fakes. We every year we want to know how big online scams actually are. So we do a big study called the State of Global Scams. And this year we were able to research 42 countries to learn how often are people scammed in that country, how much money is lost, and what are governments actually doing to combat scams. If we added up all the money lost in all these 42 countries, and we come to a sum of more than $47 billion, an increase of 15% compared to 2019. However, the number of scams actually reported grew much more rapidly, with 93% to 266 million reports. And you have to consider only 7% of all scams are actually being reported. We see that especially developing countries like Nigeria and Egypt, but also India, Iran, Philippines, are there the number of scams really doubled in the last year. A lot of people going online for the first time, a lot of very innocent and new victims. But also developed countries like Australia, like the Netherlands, like Germany, like the US, report growth of 30 to 50% compared to the year before. And we all know about the scams regarding masks and disinfectants, but also scammers are incredible, innovative, really entrepreneurial. So within weeks, we had the fake charities. And because people were bored at home, they started to buy puppies online and doing investments. And scammers were very quickly to set up web shops where you could buy your puppy, which never arrived, or do an investment, which proved to be a fake. My lesson learned from last year is that at the moment scammers are winning, and the reason is simple. One is the online market is booming, it's growing. It's very easy to set up an online scam, and your chances of arrest are minimal. As I said, scams are very cheap to set up. I mean, you can set up a free Shopify website. You can get an SSL certificate for free. While most consumers still think that the small lock in your browser means the website is safe, Well, the communication is safe, but the website itself doesn't have to be. You can advertise for free on Facebook. And if you want to have a more advanced scams like a corporate banking site or a wallet exchange for 99 bucks, you can buy a very professional looking scam. And scams are out of control. We see now that 33% of all reported crime in the UK are related to online fraud, but only 2.5% of all these cases are prosecuted. Worldwide, the situation is even worse. According to the World Economic Forum, only 0.05% of all cybercrimes are prosecuted. So, how can we turn the tide? The basic answer is good know your customer processes. I mean, all scammers need to have a domain. They need to have a company. They need to have an online store. They need to use a payment gateway. If all these service providers would use normal due diligence on new clients, we wouldn't have so many scammers. We've seen that with the .dk registry, the registry who owns the Danish extension name. They started asking for an ID in 2018, and in 1 year time, there was a drop in web shops using the .dk domain name of 85%. So know your customer processes really help. The problem is that scammers will always flock to the lowest thresholds, meaning that at the moment, for example, in the UK, you can set up a company for £12. No physical checking, hardly any due diligence. And if you pay a little bit more, you can get all your documents, you can get a phone number, you can get an address. So it's very easy to set up a legitimate company at the moment in the UK. And as a result, many people believe that they're working with a legit company. In my view, the only way we can win is by sharing data across all the boundaries, because that allows us to identify scams much faster and also act accordingly. And that's the reason why we work together with 50 partners, such as DomainCrawler, to identify scammers faster, share data, and hopefully make it a lot more difficult for scammers to keep their operation going for a long time. How can we help you as brands? As you know, taking down a website is a difficult process. You need to identify these IP infringing websites, but taking them down is difficult and also often and more impossible because of services such as Cloudflare, bulletproof hosting, and of course the worst product the EU ever came up with, the GDPR legislation. What we are working on together with DomainCrawler and other parties is actually domain blocking and or warning. Our data is being used by a lot of antivirus companies, a lot of internet filters, and they use our data to actually warn consumers that, hey, you're now accessing a website which is known to sell fakes. Are you sure you want to continue? It's still in pilot phase, but it really, I mean, it looks like we are already reaching 1.5 billion consumers worldwide with our warnings via our partners. That's it from my side. I hope you will join us. Reporting bad websites to us is free. Feel free to contact me. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And with that, Alona, may I give you back the floor?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It was super insightful. Personally, I learned a lot of things. And thank you, Yuri, for this great overview. And it's so interesting and sad at the same time that scammers are getting smarter every day. But that's good that we find ways to fight them, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I totally agree. And sorry for interrupting, Alona, but it's very interesting to hear these numbers and understand like the scale of what everyone is doing. And like you said, with the Danish registry, if they do something, then they probably just go to another country. And we need to do things together. And again, that's why we work with Scamadvisers to try to make the internet a little bit better.
Of course, definitely. And guys, if you have any questions related to the report that you just presented, please put all the questions into the chat box and we'll make sure to come back to them at the end of the webinar. And before that, I want to go into more deeper conversation, exploring with Rickard, and I have a couple of questions. Rickard, do you think that we need stricter rules on policing the internet, and whether these rules can make a change?
I would say yes. Maybe not rules as laws, but some sort of partnership between internet organizations, between people that are working in web hosting companies, like you were mentioning Cloudflare. People are hiding behind that. People are hiding behind e-commerce platforms, just trying to find ways how to reduce these issues, because in the end of the day, there will be issues for these companies as well, either customer support and so on and so forth. But yes, we need something, maybe not policing, but some sort of partnership and some ways to work together, because it's just increasing, especially now with Corona, that people are starting to buy more and more online. That decreases it even further.
Yes. And on the other hand, Yuri, what do you think? What can be done to prevent or fight the scams on, as I said at the beginning, on the individual, business, and state levels? You covered it a little bit, on your report, but maybe you have something.
I agree with what Rickard is saying. I mean, we need the biggest problem is that our world is still a world of countries, and every country has its own laws. And of course, we have the EU and there are other global corporations, but we're not really working together. I mean, with all due respect for Interpol and Europol, they're very restricted in what they can do. And what I hear I speak to Europol officers quite often, and they're very frustrated because countries are not allowed to share data, and even if they are allowed to share data, they don't, because they want to catch the bad guy themselves. But scammers are operating globally, and we still have the idea that we can fight these cyber criminals on a national level. We cannot. We have to cooperate, and we have to give these kind of organizations much more firepower to act.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. And I think for finding new scammers, to fight with them, we need data, we need technology. And Rickard, what do you think? What technological means can be used in combating those wrongdoers?
No, but like you're saying, scamming and scammers use technological advantage over the people they're getting scammed. They know about how to handle payment gateways. They know how to handle bulletproof hosting. They know how to handle Cloudflare and Shopify. So they're not detecting these websites. The only way to fight them, in my opinion, as a technical person, is to use technical means to fight them, to use data to fight these bad guys, to find them, to find the networks, to find what they're doing, and also seeing the new things that they're doing. Mm-hmm. With that, we're able to be a little bit ahead, not 10 steps behind.
Totally agree.
And I guess come back to what Jure was saying regarding different countries. And it was the same thing, 12 years ago, Sweden didn't have an anti-piracy law. But 12 years ago, or before 2009, you were allowed to download any movie online. That's why we had this Pirate Bay website. And then Sweden started to change the law. Pretty late, in my opinion, but that's what it did. And that's also changed the consumer way into other technical products like Netflix, Spotify, and so on and so forth, instead of using Pirate Bay. And if we can get the technical advantage for to go after scammers, get the lawmakers to find ways to make laws against this that would actually pinpoint scammers. That would be amazing.
Yeah, Yuri, do you agree with Rickard?
No, I absolutely do not agree. No, of course I do. No, I think we have to fight on multiple fronts. One is legislation. Two is internationalization of law enforcement. Three is a lot of Western countries invest a lot in awareness campaigns. They're good, but they're only helpful to a certain extent, because scammers continuously innovate and the scam continuously differs. And only the rule, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, that doesn't help. Consumers are a little bit naive sometimes. So we also need to protect consumers more actively via filtering, via antivirus. So, I mean, we move from viruses to phishing to now to scam. So we need to give them tools to check and to help them protect. So I mean, what Domain Tools and Scamadviser are working on together is we are, thanks to Domain Tools, we are identifying scams a lot.
I hope you mean
faster.
DomainCrawler, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My apologies, DomainCrawler. I will pay you a drink afterwards. So we're using DomainCrawler to if we find a bad website, DomainCrawler allows us to identify all the websites which are related to it on the same server, and also have also other attributes. And that allows us to not only find one scam site, but sometimes hundreds or even thousands of malicious sites in one go. And that's part of the battle. I mean, part of the battle is identifying scam sites, scam networks faster than scammers can set them up. Other parts are, I mean, are just as important, like legislations, like better international cooperation.
Okay, yes. And that's interesting. I think you almost like fully covered my next question, like exactly how Scamadviser and DomainCrawler work together. So I think we have it all answered.
Yeah, but I can elaborate a bit on that as well. Like we are working together. Like we at DomainCrawler really supports Scamadviser to make, like, to provide this data, because in the DomainCrawler working on the internet on the B2B side with the companies selling the goods, with brand owners. That's our part of the business. And Scamadvisors on the other side work with good consumers and help the consumers and everyone that works with consumers, filters. We saw some of the DNS filters and everyone that can help the consumer not to go into a malicious site. And we, on the other side, come and try to help the brand owners to remove these sites, and not after a month, not after a quarter, but right away. They should be up for like 24 hours before we send it to your and Scamadvisors and to the customers of DomainCrawler. And if we are able to do that, then we can really show and get the sites down within days, weeks, and then just like in Denmark, then it's not worth it. Then they will do something else. Something else, just stop with the scamming and do something else in their lives. And that's the goal.
That's interesting, actually. And now I have more or less rhetorical question, like, do we still have scammers in 2-3 years? And what do you think, how will they look like in 2, 3, 5 years if we are going to have them? Yuri?
Yeah.
Yes, and my fear is that scammers will be way more advanced in 2-3 years than they're now. I mean, we already see it with deep fakes. Now you're getting a text message which seems to come from your son asking for a little bit of money because he lost his bus card and he needs money to pay the driver, which is a scam. They're spoofing the number. In 2-3 years time, it will be a WhatsApp phone call which looks like your son or daughter, and he is asking for money, and you send him the money, but it's a deep fake. And we already not see so many deep fake videos, but we already see a lot of deep fake photos, where scammers used to use pictures from innocent people to say, hey, this is the CEO of our company. It was very easy to identify, but now they create, using AI, completely new pictures, which we cannot compare, we cannot find. And it makes our life more difficult, but also it makes for more victims. So yes, scammers will be there in 2-3 years, and they will be probably more successful than they're currently.
Yeah, I can also elaborate on that. It's because, like you were saying in the report, like more people going online for the first time. Well, like in Sweden, we have that. That's most people have been online, but if you look at the billions and billions of people around the world, there's continents where that's not so common. And that's what we are. We have what scammers are taking advantage over. And especially with e-commerce, the increasing the people are buying more and more things online, and we're looking at the big companies like Google, like Facebook. They're not doing so much to protect this. Like Google could do so much more. They have the safe serve filter thing. They have a few of those, but it doesn't seem to be a top priority for them. And if it were, and I really hope it might be going forward, we can work together to solve this, because it's not that difficult, like technical wise. We just need to come together, both all technical companies and also on the legislation side.
Absolutely. So it takes a lot of aspects to fight those online scams, and unfortunately, since the technology is evolving, scammers are evolving at the same time. But hopefully, we'll be able to fight them one time, absolutely once and for forever. And I would like now to switch up to our audience and their questions. So guys, you are free to answer any related questions to our webinar and put them into the chat box. At this very moment, we have 2 questions. Yeah, the very first one from Justin. Thanks, Yuri, for the presentation. Is blockchain technology influencing the situation in any way? Do you see it as a remedy for increasing number of online scams?
Thank you very much, Justin, for your question. Very honestly, I see blockchain currently as part of the problem. Then I'm, of course, referring to cryptocurrency. We get tens of emails every day. I lost my money. I invested somewhere, or I paid in crypto because they said it would be better. And of course, if you pay with crypto, in 99.99% of the cases, the money is gone. It's very, very difficult to get your money back. And scammers are using it. And currently, we see even a trend that they're moving away from Bitcoin because it's too easy in the end to track. And they're moving to more less popular cryptocurrencies to still be able to take the money and get unnoticed. I'm very honestly, that's the dark side. I mean, there's of course also a light side. With blockchain, I mean, we could use it to identify reliable sites. We can certify them, and we can, because companies actually do not sell only on a website. They sell nowadays via tens of channels. They sell on Facebook, they sell on WhatsApp, and there we could use blockchain technology to let them identify as a safe party as well. But that's a long term. At the moment, I fear the dark side is winning for blockchain. But I'd love to continue our discussion after this meeting.
That's great. Rickard, do you have anything to add about that blockchain technology?
No, but I totally agree. The cryptocurrency is an issue, and it's not ideal how to handle it. And yeah, it is an issue. I totally agree.
You're being very political, Rickard.
Yeah, I need to be.
Okay.
And we have another question from Severin. So, many hosting providers are not compliant to brand owners' requests, making it difficult to take the site down. How can we create more liability for these companies? Rickard, what's your idea about it?
I totally agree. And there is a lot of these bulletproof hosting companies. I've been working with in the hosting industry for the last more than 15 years. And the issue is that a lot of these companies use this as a USP, when they start selling their products. And they will always be like that. And the only way to police this, I would say, is either through the revenue stream, aka you need to do it via like payment providers, and slash or you going via ICANN and the registries. So the only organization I would say would be able to really do some influence into this is ICANN, being handling all the domain names. If they take the decision to do this, and then it will drill down through the registry, the registrar, down to the hosting companies, it would have been solved a lot of problems.
Okay.
I agree with Rickard. I mean, the solution, very honestly, lies indeed with ICANN. Unfortunately, I only see them moving very, very, very slowly. But it's changing. I mean, you see it also with Facebook. I mean, Facebook is getting more and more pressure to clean up its act, and it's not only with privacy. I mean, the number of scams being advertised via Facebook is incredible. They often also know that some ads are scams, and they're not acting on it. Same with all due respect to Shopify and other platforms. Money comes first. So you don't want to be too strict with closing down on scammers, because it's good for it's a good money. And that is changing. I mean, these technology platforms are more and more held accountable for not only the good they bring, but also the bad things which come with it. So I do have hope. And very honestly, I mean, I'm Dutch. I live in Amsterdam, and the Netherlands is notorious for hosting a lot of bulletproof hosting companies. And finally, our government is also becoming a little more creative. So they legally they cannot yet attack these bullet internet providers, but what they're doing is they're doing it via taxes. They're doing rates to see if they're paying their taxes, which they're not, and that's now the way to close down these kind of providers. So it's a creative solution to a long-term problem.
Amazing. Thank you.
With this said, I will just elaborate a little bit more, because I was talking to a lawyer just the other week. They're doing a lot of takedown requests, and what she was saying is more like we just be super aggressive from the trademark from the brand owner and going after the hosting company. Most hosting companies will eventually like, okay, it's not worth my time, like 2 euros, 3 euros a month for a website. It's not worth that these lawyers calling me every day asking about this domain name. That was she was like, okay, that's how we take things down, and just being really good at our job. And if more people would be doing that, I think we would do it would be better for the internet.
Yeah. We're also doing a lot of naming and shaming. We published a few months ago, and we do that once per year, our list of bad ISPs, because there's certain parties like Namecheap who host a lot of scams. And yes, they're big, but relatively they offer. I mean, the average internet service providers, 3% of their users are scammers. And some of the hosting companies, some of the registrars, but also registries actually, they have 10% scams or even 15% of their websites are scams. And that's because of their policies and their complete lack of know your customer processes. And we need to attack these, and maybe we should attack them more jointly to make our point.
Okay, and our webinar is almost about to end, and we have lots of questions at this moment. So we have a question from Alexander. Is it true that older people are more predisposed to scam? Do you have any advice on how to protect them? Yuri, Rickard?
I think this is for Yuri. He's older than me.
Oh, thank you, Rickard. Now you owe me a beer. Yes and no. Any target group is scammed. I mean, we come across Roblox websites which are fake and are targeted at 8 to 10-year-olds. What is true is that actually young people are scammed more frequently. They lose, however, less money. Older people are scammed less relatively, but the scams to older people differ. They are targeted with investment scams and romantic dating scams. Yes, also 60-year-old and 70-year-olds do have romantic dating scams. So they lose not 50 euros, they lose 500,000 euros. The problem, especially with elderly people, is convincing them that they have been scammed. Last week, I spoke to an elderly lady from Norway, I guess somewhere end of 70s, 80 years old. And I was not able to convince her to contact her relatives or contact the police. She had invested at that time 800,000 euros in a clear scam, and she still believed it was legit. So that's the problem. The problem with elderly people is they get scammed, but they get scammed for a lot more money than young people. Alona, back to you.
Yes, that's really interesting because I thought vice versa, that older people get scammed more often, but now I got your point, and makes sense. And we have one last question from Marco. Should a potential solution should come from the private or public sector or from both parties to effectively tackle such a developing threat? Subsequent question. What type of pragmatic implementations should companies or countries undertake to strive toward a shared objective? Such a big and I should say a very general question, but Rickard?
But I think, like we talked a little bit before, that we need not only DomainCrawler and Scamadvisers doing this, we need the internet giants on this as well. If we see them as the private sector. Not like you're saying, maybe they will lose a few percentage of their revenue, take a bad quarter, but in the end of the day, they will make more money because the trust of the internet will increase, but no one will do that by themselves, but we need to do it together. Or from a company like Alphabet down to the small hosting company in a developing country. Also together with lawmakers and also initiatives within the government to protect their citizens, because that's the end of the day what the government should be doing. They should protect their citizens from bad things. That's why you have a police, to protect the citizens from bad people within the community. Same thing here, but I would say the government are not doing a good job handling that for the citizens.
Yeah.
And government, everyone, all governments in the world.
There are a lot of things to improve in that direction. So I think that will be it for the questions for today. I really thank you for asking all of it. And thank you, Rickard. Thank you, Yuri, for today's talk and for the presentation. personally, I learned a lot of new things, and I'm really happy that together we can make a difference in fighting the scams online. And I also want to remind that you will have an opportunity to book a personal meeting with Rickard. And in the chat, there will appear a link, and by clicking on it, you'll be able to book your appointment. Also, I have another announcement that for those that are interested to learn more about the topic, please visit Global Online Scam Summit organized by Scamadviser. It will be on the 3rd and 4th of November. Numerous experts from different countries will attend this event, share their ideas, knowledge on the topic, and help you better protect yourself and others from fraudsters. This is a paid event, but with the promo code DomainCrawler, all the whole world together, you'll be able to access the event free of charge. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your being here with us today, and please visit DomainCrawler Scamadviser's website, follow us on social media, and we will see you next time. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rickard. Thank you, Alona.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you.